fall. We got the crock pot out. We're making a creamy tortellini and sausage soup. First, take a pound of sausage and brown it up. While that's going, we're gonna add 1 container of chicken broth into our crock pot. The whole container. 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I got these basil, garlic, oregano ones. So put both of those cans and the juice and everything, just dump all that in. I'm doing a block of cream cheese. I got the one that's reduced fat and I'm just cubing it up. Put that whole thing in. Once your sausage is cooked, go ahead and just drain the grease. Add the sausage into the crock pot. Pop the lid on and cook on high for 2 hours. Now we're gonna add in the tortellini. I got this big family size package. I actually got the herb chicken, the whole package of tortellini. And we're also gonna do a whole bag of spinach. Get all the spinach down in there so the spinach can cook. Put the lid on for another 30 minutes. Just took some down to the boys by the campfire. I'm having mine inside. It's creamy, delicious. Everything came from Aldi and there's no dishes. So easy to make too.
I have a really good fall chilly weather dinner recipe for you today. It's a crock pot meal and it's so easy to make and it's delicious. Also, what's up with all these kids talking at SHIT about crock pot meals, like these youngins? You should appreciate your mom's crock pot meals. Okay, like I said, this is so easy. So you're starting off with 2 pounds of chicken. I'm using chicken breasts. I seasoned it already, and that is gonna be the base of your crock pot. Your next step is gonna be to mix 3/4 cup of sour cream, a can of cream of chicken soup, and 1/3 cup of water. Mix it all together. So you get this nice little mixture. You're actually gonna put that aside because the next layer on top of your chicken is gonna be some stuffing mix. I think you can use whatever kind. I'm just using the Trader Joe's cornbread one, and I use about half a box of this because this box is huge. So just like that, enough to cover the chicken. So now you have 2 layers, chicken and stuffing mix. Next layer, you guessed it, is gonna be the mixture that you made, and you're just gonna pour that all over the top. And your final layer is gonna be some frozen green beans, a bag of it, and that's gonna be your top layer here. And that's it. So I put the lid on, I'm gonna cook it on high for 4 hours. I'll show you guys the final product tonight when we have it for dinner, but it's just like the most creamy, it's so good, you'll see. And this is a little bit more hearty than what we usually, but it's such a good like fall cold weather, easy crock pot, so good. Let me know if you try it. Okay, so you'll end up with something like this. It's just so good.
Let me show you guys how I made my chicken roll-ups in a chipotle sauce. You're gonna need thinly sliced chicken breasts. First, you're gonna season them up on both sides with seasoning of choice. I'm using Flavor God, the garlic kind. And all you're gonna do is add a slice of ham and a slice of Swiss cheese. Roll them up. Make sure they don't bust in your face. Take them to your skillet and let them brown up on both sides. Make sure that when you're putting the chicken into the skillet, you put them sear side down. That way they don't open up. And then you just make a big mess. So for the sauce, you're gonna need about a cup of sour cream, 2 tablespoons of chipotle and adobo. But you can also use more if you want it more spicier. You're also going to add about a tablespoon of chicanor, 2 cloves of garlic, and about a 1/4 piece of onion. Then you blend your sauce. Pour it all over your chicken breast, and then you let this simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. Something I've noticed about Flavor God is that they don't have a lot of salt in their seasonings, so I ended up adding some more seasoning to the chicken. But anyways, we just cover it up, simmer for 10 to 15 minutes until the chicken is fully cooked. When serving these, you can also cut them into little pinwheels and make it look all cute and all, but I wasn't feeling good, so they're gonna get the whole thing. If they want to cut it, they can cut them themselves. I'm just gonna serve it with some white buttery rice and a little side salad. Hope you like this recipe. Bye.
Gotta make this. Full head of cauliflower, remove the leaves and part of the core, like that. Score the core, bring water and chicken stock to a boil. Salt the water, boil for 10 minutes. Remove and let it drain really well. Place in a baking pan, coated with olive oil and kosher salt. Roast for about 30 to 40 minutes. Melt 3 tablespoons of butter, add 3 tablespoons of flour, whisk and cook for a few minutes. A few cups of warm cream, a little Dijon, turn off the heat, slowly whisk in Gruyere cheese. Beautiful, it's just what you want. Pour on the cheese sauce, sprinkle on a little more Gruyere, broil until it looks like that.
let's make some chicken and sausage gumbo. First thing you're gonna need is the Holy Trinity, which is 1 green bell pepper, chopped, 1 yellow onion, chopped, and 3 stalks of celery, chopped. You're also gonna need 1 pound of smoked sausage or andouille sausage. I'm using the smoked from Polk's. They sent me a package, which we're gonna do an unboxing with that soon. But this is the garlic and green onion smoked sausage made with pork. And y'all, it's still 500 degrees in South Mississippi, but we're having gumbo. I don't care, I'm ready. You're gonna need some chicken thighs. This is a 3-pound pack. Season both sides with some blackened season. I'm using the Zatarans. You can use any kind you like, and if you can't find blackened seasoning, you can just do some seasoning of your own. Once your chicken is seasoned, you're gonna cook it all the way on both sides. And y'all, if you don't wanna do this step, you can get rotisserie chicken from Walmart. I do have to let y'all know that good gumbo takes about 5.5 years to make. Just kidding. It's really more like 4 to 6 hours. It's 2 o'clock right now. I hope I have this ready by 6 for dinner. The chicken is done. Now we're gonna remove it from the pan and set it to the side. All right, y'all, it's time for the Magnolite. You're gonna do 1 pound of sausage. We're gonna brown that down. Once your sausage is brown, remove it from the pot and set it to the side. In the same pot, 1 cup of oil. We're gonna let this oil get good and hot. This is the roux. This is what takes the longest, like anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how dark you want your roux. Oil is good and hot. Now we're gonna add 1 cup of all-purpose flour. This part is very important. Low and slow on your roux. You're gonna take about 45 minutes and just keep stirring it until you get to the color that you want. All right, so I've been cooking this for an hour, and this is the color I'm looking for. It actually looks a lot lighter on camera, but I like it not real dark, but more like a little bit darker than like a milk chocolate. When your roux is done, you're gonna add in your vegetables. You wanna cook your vegetables down until they're very soft. Normally takes about 20 to 25 minutes. My vegetables have been cooking for about 15 minutes. Now we're gonna add a shit ton of garlic. All right, this is where we're at. We're gonna add back in our sausage, the chicken that we shredded up, and a 32-ounce container of chicken broth. 2 cups of cold water. I'm gonna do a little bit of bone broth. For seasoning, we're starting off with some Tony's, garlic powder, onion powder, ground thyme, some cayenne, and a couple of bay leaves. 1 12-ounce bag of frozen okra. I don't care what you say, okra goes in gumbo. Tomatoes do not. Cover and let it simmer for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. All right, here it is, y'all. I'm serving it with rice and potato salad and garlic bread. Give us just a minute, and me and Bubba will do a taste test. All right, potato salad and gumbo. Let's go. It's so...
What you making? Lasagna! Ooh! A little of this, a little of that, some of this, some of that. What is this? Ooh. Smush and whip, smush and whip. No! This, that. Oh, that's a lot. No! You measure that with love. Oh, Jesus! Get the lasagna pan. Got it! Good job, Dad. Who cut the cheese? Richard! This is why I have to use 2 blocks of cheese. Okay, so, it's a process. Oh, noodle, sauce, regret, cheese, eat, repeat. Noodle, sauce, regret, cheese, eat, repeat. Noodle, sauce, regret. Why are we going so fast? You're making me nervous. You're hovering on me, you're breathing on me. I'm just trying to make a nice family dinner. And you people want to know all my secrets. Toss it in there. Is it ready yet? Oh, shit. It's part of the process. Oh, perfect. Ooh, cheese bubble. And there you have it. Mama Jill's homemade lasagna. Give me that. Happy for y'all.
A cheap and easy dinner using this thick boy. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Heads. No sucre for 1 year. Some vegetables. Some vegan-free chicken thighs. Oregon and other spices. And a diced privileged onion. Cover and forget about it for 4 hours. Take some biscuits for me, please. Perfect. Just about done. I tried adding peas and the kids gave me a death glare. And you probably thought I was going to throw a brick of cream cheese in there. Who wouldn't eat an upside-down chicken pot pie?
I'm making a chicken stuffing casserole, one of my favorite things to make in the fall. So you're going to start by melting a stick of butter in a large mixing bowl. You're then going to add a package of stuffing and mix it all together. You're then going to put half of that mixture in another bowl and put it to the side. You're going to need that later. In the large mixing bowl, you're then going to add a full rotisserie chicken or about 2 shredded chicken breasts. Then add your vegetable of choice. I did green beans, but in the past I've done zucchini and mushrooms as well. Then you will add a full can of cream of chicken. In the order that you add these things does not matter. You will then add half of a cup of sour cream. I use light sour cream. Mix it all together. I used a little more than a half. I really like sour cream. Then you're going to add some dried cranberries. That part's optional. I just really like adding dried cranberries to mine. Then you're going to get a baking dish. I used a 9x12, I think. Spray it with Pam, add your mixture, and then you're going to grab the stuffing that you had put aside earlier, and you're going to top it with that remaining stuffing. Then bake it at 350 for about 35 to 40 minutes until the stuffing is golden brown on the top. So when it's done, it will look like this. So this is a very simple recipe. It takes minimal effort, and it's really good as well. So one of my favorite fall dishes.
So many of you know that my son was sick with COVID last week, and here's one of the dinners that I made for him. Let's make some zuppa toscano soup. You're going to start by cleaning your kale greens. I used some vinegar and baking soda. I then browned my Italian sausage. I sauteed some garlic and onions, and then I added in some chicken broth. I also added 3 cups of water to that chicken broth mix. I cubed 2 russet potatoes, added that to the broth mix, as well as added back the Italian sausage. I let that cook down for about 20 to 25 minutes until the potatoes were translucent. I added a tablespoon and a half of roasted chicken base, better than bouillon. And then I started picking the kale leaves off the clean stalks. I used about 7 or 8 stalks of kale. I used a cup and a half of heavy whipping cream, let that cook another 5 or 10 minutes, and then finally I added my seasonings, which consisted of garlic salt, Italian seasoning, salt and pepper, and whatever you like. I plated his soup, garnished with bacon bits, and voila!
Boards will never be the new charcuterie board, but you know I had to try this trend with a fall twist. The trick is to use salted butter for more flavor and swirl that onto a board of your choice. I added coarse sea salt and some orange zest, pomegranates for a touch of fall, and garnished it off with fresh mint and marigold petals. And yes, marigolds are edible and easily found in the garden this time of year. Walnuts for that crunch, and don't be shy when you drizzle on that honey. You get a fresh citrus bite with this one, which pairs well with a warm baguette. This is perfect for entertaining this fall and surprisingly really easy to clean up. Make sure you follow for more.
This 2-ingredient crockpot recipe was the first recipe that I ever learned, and to this day, it's probably still the easiest crockpot recipe that I know. My mom taught me this recipe when I moved to college, and I made this recipe so much when I was in college. The recipe is literally chicken. You can use chicken breasts, you can use chicken thighs, whatever chicken that your little heart desires. You go ahead and use that chicken. You do you. This is the secret ingredient. You're literally going to just add a whole bottle of whatever Italian dressing you like. It could be that fancy stuff from Olive Garden, or it could be this stuff from Aldi. So I like to shake mine up before so it gets all of the stuff mixed in because it's an oil-based dressing. I usually like to do it on high for 3 to 4 hours or on low for 6 to 8. Now, you can serve this with whatever you like. Mashed potatoes, over rice. You can mix it in with a pasta. But my favorite thing to do is to do it over rice. So that's what we're going to do. The chicken at this point is so tender that it would literally just fall apart in your hands. Like and follow for more easy crockpot recipes like this one.
French dips in the crock pot are one of our favorites for fall. They are so delicious and they're really easy to make. For this recipe, just season your chuck roast with salt, pepper, garlic, and sear it in a little bit of butter for a couple minutes on each side. Once you've got a nice sear, add your roast to the crock pot and throw in some sliced onions, minced garlic, W sauce, and 12 ounces of beer. Let that come to a simmer and stir in 1 package of brown gravy mix and then pour that right over the top of your roast. Then just let that cook on low for 6 to 8 hours and you should be able to shred your beef with a couple of forks. Add your shredded beef to some good sub rolls, melt on some provolone cheese, and it's time to eat. If you need a good crock pot recipe to celebrate the arrival of fall,
Here's my recipe for my tortellini soup. So you can use a crock pot or a Dutch oven. I prefer to use my Dutch oven, but I just start with some garlic and oil, and then I add in the Italian sausage. You can use mild or spicy, whatever you prefer. And then I also added in some onions, so you want to cook that up. And then you want to add in some chicken broth or beef broth, whatever you have. I think I used a little bit of both, to be honest. And then I added in a can of petite diced tomatoes. You can also add in carrots, celery, things like that. I've made this a ton of different ways. I also added in some cream. And then I did salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning for this. I'm going to have all the measurements in the comments. And then I also added red pepper flakes because I like a little bit of kick to my soup, but that's totally up to you. And then I do not recommend using this tortellini. I would use the refrigerated tortellini that comes in like a vacuum seal bag. And then I also add spinach. You can use fresh or frozen, but make sure to wait till the end and then have it just wilt down in the soup. And then you can add in some Parmesan cheese if you'd like. I thought that this was a nice touch at the end. I always add Parmesan on my soup. And then I also made up a garlic bread just so you could have something to dip in the soup.